Sporadic Sports Podcast. We've got the three J's here tonight. No Jared. We're giving producer Jared the night off. Full disclosure, I asked him to help us. He's making dinner, and the man deserves some time off, so we're giving him some time off. But we are on the cusp. Actually, the NBA Finals tipped off like 15 minutes ago.
I've got it right here.
Okay, so that is what I plan on doing once I get off of here. But we wanted to get on here before any games are officially played and over in both the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, and kind of give our thoughts and see where we're at, and then kind of go from there. So right now, like I said, NBA Finals is tipped off. We've got, of course, the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. Kyrie's return to Boston. I'm sure that's going to be toxic. What do we think is going to happen, boys?
I think the Celtics. Oh, you go ahead.
I'm going to keep it short and simple. I think Boston's going to win. I just think they're the better team. I think the Mavericks could steal a couple because they've got superstars, but Boston is just the most complete team in the NBA. So I think Boston 5-6 games, honestly.
I personally think this is going to be a really competitive series. Luka's averaged 29, 9, and 9 in the playoffs. He's been amazing. It's Kyrie's return to Boston. So I think they're going to be ready to play. But I also think this Celtics team's very good. They have had an easy path, you can say that, in their playoff run. But Al Horford, if he's the sharpshooter he was in Game 3 going 7 for 12, they're going to be hard to beat. And KP's coming back. Give me Celtics in 7.
A 7-game series would be well received. I think that the Celtics are definitely feeling the pressure. They're a team that should be competing for a title year in and year out, especially with the team that they have been able to assemble. Getting Kristaps Porzingis in the offseason was a big addition. Getting to the finals without him and now getting him back, like you said, that's huge. I do think that Dallas is going to win some games. It's not an easy place to win in Dallas, and they've proven that they can also win on the road. So I think that they are a dangerous team. I don't think it's going to be, an easy dub. But at the end of the day, I think the Celtics realize, if you don't win it this year, the Nuggets are gone. Everybody you played in the playoffs was hurt. If you can't get it done this year, then when are you going to be able to get it done? So I think the Celtics take it in 6. I don't know. I think it's going to be dependent upon Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum's probably going to get his. But Jaylen Brown kind of showed in the playoffs last year that if he does not be the Robin to Tatum's Batman, then that their success is very, very dependent upon that when you play a skilled team like the Mavericks. So it's going to be interesting.
Another thing about Jaylen Brown.
I think JB will keep it up because he won Eastern Conference Finals MVP, didn't he? So
yeah,
he's been playing well. I think he'll keep it up. It'll be a good series, but I just think Boston's just too much all around.
Yeah.
It's more about Jaylen Brown's defense, I think, on Luka and Kyrie more than it's even his offensive game. Speaking of the Celtics, they've made the Eastern Conference Finals 6 out of the last 8 years. They've been in the mix forever, so they do have won the finals
in
out of
that
that
time too before this one. So and they lost to Golden State. So this is really it's kind of a perfect storm for them. If you do not get it done here, when will you get it done? So I think they're going to win it. Like you said, I think it is going to be dependent upon Jaylen Brown's defense. I think he's going to be spending a lot of time on Kyrie because there's a size difference between him and Luka. Not that it really matters. It's not like Luka is the most athletic dude in the world, but he gets shots off and they go in. It's going to be interesting to see, but I hope to see a good competitive series. But on paper, the Celtics are just superior. You look at the record that they had; they lost 18 games this year. That's pretty impressive. So, any predictions on Finals MVP?
I mean, I'm always going to kind of lean the superstar, so I'm going to go Jason Tatum. Just stats alone. I think Jaylen Brown, I think he's going to be kind of the vital player in this series, like you guys were saying. But I think at the end of the day, when Jason Tatum's going to average, 29, 11, and 7, he's going to take it. So
yeah, it's really
Tatum on that.
whoever's wins, their star player is probably going to win it, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I doubt we
If
see
the
like an
Mavericks end up winning
Iguodala win a Finals MVP again or anything crazy like
Yeah.
that.
That was a weird year.
It was a weird year.
Who do you want if the
But
aliens come
Iguodala
down to
lost.
Earth to hit a 3-pointer?
I want Iguodala. Max Kellerman. What an idiot. Yeah, I think y'all, I mean, it's Jason Tatum just because it's star power. Somebody else would have to have an otherworldly series for it to not be him. Considering we all picked the Celtics to win, so. But that'll take us to the Stanley Cup Finals. And boy, do we have a good one. We've got the Florida Panthers, who are in the finals for the second year in a row, trying to finish what they could not finish last year when they faced the Vegas Golden Knights. And they're playing the Edmonton Oilers, and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have finally made their way to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think this is wide open. I think this is going to be an awesome series. I think that if you watch the series between the Rangers and the Panthers, you see how good the Panthers' defense is, but also you see just the explosiveness of the Oilers' offense. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm interested to see who you all think has the upper hand going in the Stanley Cup Finals.
I don't know who would have the upper hand, to be honest. I mean, I think, just to keep it simple, I think my heart says Edmonton, but my brain says Florida, because they were there last year, and they came that close last year, so I feel like they're going to have that drive a little more than Edmonton, but at the same time, Connor McDavid's never been to a Stanley Cup final before, and he's finally there, and I think there's no argument that he's the best player in the NHL, so he has finally the chance to get his Stanley Cup, so he's going to be going for it hard, of course. I mean, if you ask me to pick, I don't want to pick. I really don't. But if I have to pick, I'm going to go Florida in 7 just off experience alone. But I hope it's Edmonton, but I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's hard. If I had to pick, I'd say Edmonton. The Oilers have a slight edge just because they have the best player in the planet. McDavid has 31 points going into this game. Zach Hyman, 14 goals. I think Evander Kane's injury is going to play a pivotal role. If he's healthy and can play 5-6 games of the series, I think the Oilers have a good chance to win. But Kachuk, man, he's so good. Kachuk could win them any game at any point, and Bobrovsky and net's hot. So if you're making me pick, I'm going Oilers in 7 just because they have the best player in the planet.
Yeah, I've kind of been back and forth thinking about this in my head. But I think at the end of the day, I've been riding with the Panthers as the hottest team, and I'm kind of with Jordan here. I think that being there last year, being there last year and wanting to finish the job versus the best player in the world finally being there and wanting to finish the job. So it's, a movable object meets, it's nuts. It's going to be a great series. But like you said, Jack, Bobrovsky has been standing on his head in the crease these playoffs. Igor Shesterkin played good enough in the Eastern Conference Finals to be considered for the playoff, like the Conn Smythe had his team gone through, and if he would have continued on that path, but he got outplayed by Bob. So I think that if you can get a hot goaltender, I believe in Bobrovsky more than I believe in Skinner. So at the end of the day, I think the goaltending is going to be what's going to make the biggest difference. Can you stop Connor McDavid? Because once again, Connor McDavid does something that makes you just say, no human being should be able to do that. But if he makes a ridiculous move and you're able to stonewall him, it doesn't matter. So I think it's going 7 as well. I think it's going to be the Panthers. But I do not have Kachuk winning the Conn Smythe. If it's not Bobrovsky, I think it's going to be Sam Reinhart, because I think Reinhart has been incredibly pivotal to them throughout these playoffs, and I think he's going to have to be going forward if they want to lift the cup.
Yeah, they're going to need a good back line if they want to win.
Who do y'all think is going to win the Conn Smythe?
I would go Bobrovsky. I mean, I think a hot goaltender is the reason a team wins a Stanley Cup at least half the time, and I think they've got the best goaltender in the NHL right now, the way he's playing right now. So that's where I lean.
Well, I picked the Oilers to win, so the obvious answer is McDavid. But McDavid really, he's got a lot of assists, so I could see a series like where Draisaitl or Hyman have a good like 5 goals this series and they win it. So
Do you mean
give me
Matthias
Draisaitl.
George's a big Matthias Ekholm guy.
That's my
George,
guy.
did you see the video? I saw like a clip on Twitter today, and it was like Matthias Ekholm thanking the Oilers GM for trading for him, and it was just like,
It hurts, but I'm glad he's where he's at now. I mean,
yeah,
it hurts. It really does.
it's a big Swedish redwood. But
Yeah.
it was weird to see him and like Matt Duchene and Craig Smith all play in the Western Conference Finals, guys that we had been very adamant about. But it's good. It was good. I did not want Dallas to make it, but I knew that like I wasn't going to root for Duchene just because like he's too good. Like, but I would have rooted for Craig Smith.
Yeah,
to
Craig
do
Smith.
well.
Yeah, love that
But
guy.
like Ekholm, Ekholm's a original, one of the
He's a
original ones that he was your guy, and we had the Ekholm and the Yarncroke jerseys, and now the Yarncroke doesn't. I'm pretty sure he's gone, and he's succeeding. So if they do win, I'll be happy.
Yarncroke doesn't even play in the league anymore.
He was on the Maple Leafs, but like I haven't heard his name in forever because he got taken in the expansion draft by the Kraken.
Yeah.
And then the Kraken dealt him to Toronto, but I haven't heard anything. I don't know if he's been doing much, but which is crazy because like the year before he left, he was having a great year. So
That's very unfortunate because I remember you throwing your hat on the ice whenever he had a hat trick in Nashville, and it was like
His
a brand
only
new
one,
freaking
man.
hat, dude.
It was.
You were like, I'm gonna have to buy another one of these.
yeah, no, it's his only career hat trick, and we were there for it.
That was sick.
And I launched it from the upper deck, and I watched it make its way down to the ice. So that was something else. But I think we've got a good series ahead of us as far as the Stanley Cup Finals go. So, also coming up, starting tomorrow, we have the next round of NCAA baseball tournament.
Oh, we do.
We do, and of course there's 16 teams left, but you can tell by the colors being worn, the three of us, that we're going to be all eyes on Knoxville, Tennessee come tomorrow.
Who's the odd one out, Coach White, in this three?
Well, the guy whose team won it all last year in the College World Series.
Well, they're not in this year, so.
They're not. Well, Paul Skeens is out there. Paul Skeens struck out Shohei Ohtani on 3 straight.
He destroyed my team yesterday. I mean,
yeah,
what do you do?
You're a little. Yeah, that's got to be a little bittersweet for you.
I'm happy for him.
I mean, he's killing it.
It's a
Dude's
regular
stud.
season game.
I saw.
Yeah.
I don't remember which Tennessee player it was on Twitter. Like somebody said, imagine being a college guy who had to face this guy a calendar year ago, and they're like, "It sucked." Next question. I don't remember Griffin Merritt. That's who it was. He said it sucked. Next question. Like,
That was just unfair.
Yeah, I mean, up in the 100s consistently. One day his arm's probably going to need some serious reconstruction, but right now he's whizzing it. So let the kid eat. But Jack, I'm interested to know, how confident are you in the baseballs
to beat Evansville?
To actually do? No, not beat Evansville. I don't want to count Evansville out because they're hot right now. But just to finally get the job done. Well, obviously we've got a lot of things to take care of, but
to get the job done, I mean, AJ Russell's out for the year now. They've shut him down. That's tough, but he really hasn't been there all year. To get the job done, I'd say 25%, which is pretty good at where we're at. I just want us to beat Evansville in 2 games, advance to Omaha, and then we'll see who we play there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think 25%. Like the thing about where we're at right now is that we just didn't really have any problems in the regionals.
No,
like we weren't really pushed, and I think that can hurt us.
But Southern Miss wasn't a bad ball team either.
No, they're not.
No, and we killed them.
We did. We were hitting the piss out of the ball. But it kind of concerns me that we didn't have any close games. Like, and I know that it didn't really pan out to anything. We didn't make it to Omaha, but the last time we were the number 1 overall seed, we played Georgia Tech in the regional, in like the clinching game, and we would have had to play again the next day, and I was there in the ballpark. We were down 3-2. It was the game Jordan Beck flipped off one of their outfielders.
Yeah.
I was there, and we came back, and we beat them, and like that was electric. But of course, it didn't work for us then. But I feel like we kind of, I don't want that kind of game with Evansville, but I think we need one of these games to be close. I think we have to pull it out just to kind of be humbled a little bit. If in fact we do beat Evansville and go to Omaha, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Evansville's a good baseball team. They made it out of that regional that nobody thought they'd make it out of. So they, Wake Forest got eliminated.
I wanted to see Chase Burns so bad.
Part of me did. Part of me knows that Lindsey Nelson would have absolutely crucified him. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, he is so good.
He feeds off that energy too.
He loves that stuth. So, like, I remember him beating his chest in the.
It was against Clemson in the Super Regional. He came in. Yep. I think he walked 2 guys, got a single, and bases loaded, 1 out, and he works his way out of it and freaks out on the mound.
Yeah, and he feeds off that. So part of me was like, I don't want to see that because our luck is he'll feast. So I'm kind of glad he's not coming in. But all eyes on the Purple Aces, and then see what we can do tomorrow at 3:00 and go from there. Jordan, who you gonna pull for in the rest of the College World Series? You got anybody you want to see win? Not North Carolina, obviously.
No. I mean, I have all the respect for North Carolina. Honestly, I was gonna say is I think North Carolina is a big threat to take the whole thing because they got a pretty rough draw with having LSU as the number 2 seed in their regional, and they battled with them 3 times. And to get the best of them 2 out of 3 times is pretty dang good. Honestly, I'm going to root for someone just random like UConn. Someone who probably doesn't have a great chance of taking it. But to be completely honest, I probably won't watch a whole lot of it unless it's like a weekend at night or something, Or once it gets to Omaha, I'll watch it. But as for the Super Regionals, I probably won't watch a lot of it. But yeah, I would say, if I were to say if there's anybody I'm rooting for, it's more of who I'm not rooting for, which anyone but North Carolina or Kentucky, I guess I could say, I would be okay with. Georgia's had enough sports success, they can piss off, So besides those 3, I'd say have at it, guys. Yeah, Evansville, baby.
Something fun about this year.
On in the next few days.
Something fun about this year. Not a single 2 seed made it out of the regional.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a record amount of 3 and 4 seeds. So this could be you could look at it like teams like Tennessee who have been dominant all year have you could say an easy path to Omaha, but you also could say these young teams are hot. And there's that school that doesn't even exist anymore in the D2, and they're going to their College World Series.
They got eliminated.
Oh.
They made a run.
Yeah.
That was crazy. It was like Birmingham Southern. Shouts out Birmingham Southern. They were playing baseball games after their school closed. That's wild. So props to them for making it as far as they did. I feel for those kids. But yeah, we'll see. Speaking of UConn, before we wrap this one up, keeping it short.
Oh my God. Come on.
Is Dan Hurley going to go coach the Lakers?
I mean, if it's as monstrous of an offer as what they say it's going to be, yeah. Yeah, he is. Because I think it's going to be record setting.
The crazy thing is, these things repeat themselves. Jack, I know that this was before your time, but there was a time whenever the Lakers... Huh?
Oh, no. I thought you were going Billy Donovan.
Oh, no. That was a different story. Whenever the Lakers tried to throw an absolute bag at Coach K, and he thought about it, and then he didn't. So I'm interested to see if history repeats itself, or if because Dan Hurley's already told the team, I'm in talks with the Lakers. I just want you to know, but we're going forward right now. Business as usual.
But there's also there's examples of college coaches working out who's the guy? Brad Stevens in Boston. But then there's also guys like Fred Hoiberg, who's an absolute bum who went to Chicago from Iowa State and sucked. So.
And like Rick Pitino tried to go to the NBA and they ended up back in the NCAA. And I think that the money, it depends on what you think is most important. If you're super worried about money, the NBA is going to be able to pay you more than you can be paid by UConn. That's just the facts. But you got a real good thing going on at UConn right now, and you've got one of your I don't remember, one of their bigs is coming back next year, and I mean, you've won 2 in a row. You're in the middle of a dynasty, so it's easy to say one way or the other. But
Woj just reported that Dan Hurley's traveling to LA to meet with the Lakers tomorrow.
He's probably getting out of that building without putting pen to paper.
Something
I don't think it's the smartest idea for his legacy. I think he'd be better off staying with UConn, but money talks.
Yeah, I mean, when are you ever going to get this much money thrown at you?
Yeah.
How much more money is he getting from the Lakers than he would have got in Kentucky, though?
Made it public.
They haven't reported it yet, but
I would assume it's record-breaking for a head coach in the NBA. I would assume it's probably going to dominate whatever the previous record was.
But do you think a head coach at Kentucky doesn't make a comparable amount to a head coach in the NBA?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Because we don't know the numbers, because Woj is just saying, like, this is a huge number.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it might come out if he makes this deal and that it's not that, like it's the matter of a few $1 million, but it could come out that they're like doubling his salary. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I think if he does do that, then the rest of college basketball is gonna have a collective sigh to be glad that guy's leaving. But that's also a very attractive position. I'll be interested to see who ends up there if in fact he does take that job. So. Crazy times, not something you would typically. I thought once the Kentucky job was filled that Hurley was there to stay, but here we are. Those like 3 hours that we thought J.J. Redick was going to coach the Lakers were an interesting time, but now they're actually taking it seriously. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anything else y'all want to add while we're here?
Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, best 2 hitters on baseball on the same team.
I think Ohtani would have something to say.
No, not right now. You can't say Ohtani's a better hitter than Judge right now.
You're crazy.
Judge has hit like 15 homers in the span of like 20 days.
Not all about the long ball, though.
It is when you're hitting.
It is. It isn't.
Aren't the Yankees like 44-19 right now?
They're so good right now. Yeah. I mean, I can't argue that.
Them and Phillies are tied right best record.
And we don't even have Garrett Cole hasn't thrown a pitch yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, the Phillies got a bunch of guys on the injured reserve right now. Like Trey Turner's out, Brandon Marsh is out. So it's going to be interesting. The Mets are terrible. I mean, we swept the Nationals, though. We swept the Nationals, so at least we're capable of doing that. But
you want to bring up something that was said in the group chat? Not in this group chat, but worst sports city.
Just real quick,
yeah.
Worst sports city.
We're 7 minutes away from 30, so we might as well get it there.
Worst sports city? You asking our opinions on that?
Yeah.
I said Detroit. I said Minneapolis just because like the Vikings have never won one, the T-Wolves have never won one, the Wild have never won one, the Twins haven't won one since like 1991.
Lately. Just besides the Lions last year, it's like when does Detroit hasn't really been in contention since like the Tigers and like
the Tigers and the Red Wings have both won championships in our
Red Wings. I didn't really think about
I think I said Washington D.C.
I think that's fair.
The Capitals won one back.
Yeah, and the Nats won one.
Yeah,
the Nats won one. Like right now, if you're looking at it, like the Capitals made the playoffs. But they were horrible. Like, they're the worst team to ever make the playoffs. The Commanders are a joke.
Yeah.
The Nationals just got swept by the Mets, which is terrible. The Wizards are crap. So, I mean, that's fair. But
I mean, it's obviously Oakland, though, because they lost all of their
That's very fair.
There's no competition on that.
That's very fair.
It's Oakland.
Like the Warriors moved. Like, they're still Golden State, but they moved. The Raiders left. The A's are leaving. Okay, Oakland is the worst sports city. That's fair. I think that's the answer. I don't know how we didn't come up with that.
The A's, though, like, their fan base is stupid. They did, like, a buy-in, like, we're all going to show up to the stadium to prove that we can, like, fill the stadium, and not even half of it was full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are just done. So I hope that things go well whenever they move to to Las Vegas. I think that they will. I think that Vegas will support that team.
Yeah.
Because the A's are like a very storied franchise, and nobody hates the A's.
No.
Like, why would you?
They're
So I
really
hope
irrelevant.
Like, if you like the movie Moneyball, like we all like Moneyball, so you got.
I just hope they keep like the logo and the colors and stuff because that whole scheme is sick.
It is. I don't think they'll change it. I don't think you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you might like
Vegas
throw some
Athletics
dice in there or something. But
I mean, they're gonna have to add some black. I think when you look at the Raiders and the Golden Knights, I mean they're black centric. So
true. What about one more best jersey in the NBA?
In the NBA.
I think that those Jazz jerseys, they're going back to the 90s with the mountains on them. Those are in contention.
I like the old I feel like they changed the lettering on it. I like the old lettering on the old jerseys more. I have a Purples Raptor T-Mac jersey in my closet right now. So I'm going to probably say that.
Jordan was a big T-Mac guy back in the day.
That's why personally I like the Rockets uniforms, but if I was like to pick a uniform, it would be like the throwback black and gold 76ers back in the AI days.
I have that jersey too, actually, in my closet.
I had one of those AI's jerseys. I wish that we'd bring them back just as like a City Connect or something.
Yeah, I love that.
And those are tough. I don't want to be a homer and say that, but like those have a special place in my heart. Just because of AI and what they did in those jerseys and how he drugged the carcass of Dikembe Mutombo and Eric Snow to the finals and won one game and then got pooped on by Kobe and Shaq. But what are you going to do? But it's funny to me that a lot of teams are realizing if they want to have good selling jerseys that people enjoy, that they just go back to what they wore in the 90s. Like, look at the Suns, look at the Jazz. Like, people want the Grizzlies have a throwback that looks like the old Vancouver jersey. The T-Wolves wore, like, the throwback jersey throughout a lot of the playoffs. People are just realizing retro is in right now. So maybe the Sixers will realize that. Sixers kind of did that because their jerseys now are what they were before those black jerseys. Yeah. But I'm hoping they black better, I agree. So we'll see. But shouts out to the 90s. It was a golden era. Jack, you wouldn't know anything about that, but it was a great time.
That was a negative 15.
Don't do that. So, on that note, I think we're going to sign off, and I'm going to go eat a bowl of cream of wheat and go to bed since I'm feeling old now.
Wow. But you're 80. That's cool.
Yeah. So, not really. But I'm going to get off here and watch the finals. But hope everybody enjoyed this one. Keeping it short. Looking forward to seeing what happens in these championship series. I'm looking forward to being in Hilton Head to watch some of these games. It's always a great situation. But we appreciate anybody that is watching and that's sharing and subscribing. And, views aren't quite where we want them right now. But, best way to do is just keep making videos, keep producing content. And for those of you who do enjoy it, we appreciate you riding with us. So go Vols, go Mavericks. And that's about all I got.
All right.